Did you really use my videos as a training? You know me, I'm a straight shooter.
I started some of it. I saw some of the bloopers.
Well, as you can see, they think my place is a racetrack.
Oh yeah, they're flying out through there.
And we've got what do you call that road? Where you mix rock and oil.
Chip and tar.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
You should see after.
Oh gosh.
And
although some of those bloopers, I was just waiting for you to go, well, you know, or something, you know, the car coming or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, I went to a little gathering, you know, stopped off the other day, and it's like, you know, you walk up to someone, I always shake their hand every time I see them. And at first, my wife was like, "Are you going to shake his hand?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, I'm going to shake it. If he offers it, I'm going to shake it." You know, but I mean, when we got done, we washed our hands and used hand sanitizer. You know, I mean, it just before we, you know, it's just it's kind of got everybody thinking. But yeah.
Hello everyone, I am the Doctor of Disaster, Mark Warnick. I have a PhD in public safety, and I'm recognized as a subject matter expert for not one, but 2 universities. Make sure to like and subscribe to the Doctor of Disaster. You know, hit that button over there.
Since releasing my video a few days ago about food shortages, I've had a lot of questions about how people can quickly get meat. You can always go to the farmers. However, I strongly recommend that you go to a reputable store and purchase baby chick or rabbits or something along those lines. My personal opinion is Rural King is really the best place if you have one near you. And I should mention, this is not a paid advertisement. I truly believe in Rural King. Not only can they supply you with the animals, but everything that you need for. If you're looking for chicks, there's multiple types. You can also usually buy turkeys, especially at the store I go to. You know, if you want land hens, I suggest a Buff Orpington or a Rhode Island Red. If you're looking for meat birds, they carry Cornish Rock Cross, which comes mature in 14 weeks, ready to butcher. And they have rabbits. You will have to do at least a day's preparation before purchasing them to make sure that they live and live well. Make sure their temperature is correct for their age. I also use some other things in the water to help make sure that they aren't sick or anything. But, you know, you can raise your own food, whether it's an urban, a suburban, or a rural area. And if you do it right, you will have a lifetime supply of food, and it doesn't take or cost that much. For that, I choose the store Rural King because Rural King really takes care of their customers, in my opinion. The other thing about Rural King is they have everything you need, everything to take care of these new animals. Most of the people there are very knowledgeable on how to help you grow your livestock. Of course, this is small livestock, but it should get you started. Welcome to the Doctor of Disaster, and I'm here with Brad Halfacre. Brad has been in public safety for how many years now, Brad?
13 years.
13 years. He's worked as a paramedic, I believe an EMT basic. And am I correct on that?
I'm an advanced EMT and an EMT basic, yeah.
Okay.
Not a paramedic.
Okay, I'm sorry. You know how it goes. I know so many people, I can't remember them all.
That is fine.
But Brad was also a student of mine, He has graduated with a master's degree in public safety. Um, so, Brad, let's start off with what do you think of the public safety program at Tennessee Tech?
It's a great program. Everything that I've gotten from that program is something that I can take and use in my professional career and in my personal life. As far as planning, disaster planning for your home plan, things like that. Um, most of the classes I've had there at Tech has been able to prepare me for my career, and that's been a great thing. Everything's informative. I like the way the format goes, and it's not too taxing at times. You don't feel like you're pressured from a normal class setting, but you still get that kind of camaraderie, even though through your discussions and things like that.
Good, good. Would you recommend it to anyone that's got a
Yes, I would highly recommend it. It's for someone working in the working field, working in the public safety field. The online program at Tech is great because you can make it fit your schedule, and that's what I like about it.
good, good. And how about, do we tell you what to think, or do we make you think and prove it?
It's all on you. I mean, you're thinking it. I mean, the student thinks it. Yeah, the topic is out there. We do our own. We do our research and we talk about the topics, and then the responses that we get from our instructors feed that and feed more communication between each other and our peers. Our peers, when we do a discussion, our peers look at it, they ask questions, the instructor asks questions, and it keeps the topic growing. There's been some times that I've been able to pick up the phone and talk to the other student and keep the conversation going even after the class, the class topic is over with. So it spurs a whole lot of communication and networking with other departments. I've got friends since I started the program. I now have friends in 3 or 4 other different state agencies, sister agencies like TWRA, THP, things like that, and in sheriff's departments and in the medical field, in the EMS field. So it's been a great way not only just to network and to see what other things do and see how their department does it or how they would do it if they were running a department. That's kind of the freedom about it. It's so nice because you can, when the topic's out there, you have your own input, your own ideas, and then you got the instructor saying, "Hey, that's a good idea," or "Hey, what about this idea?" Taking your idea and adding this to it. So it's always a way of it's critical. It's just a great way of thinking and networking.
Do you like the accessibility of the instructors?
Yes. Well, yes. I've had really, really good luck getting a hold of most of my instructors. Yes. I mean,
Good.
there is, if some of them, if you call or text, if they don't get back to you, they, right away, it's within a few hours.
Good, good. So the real reason I brought you on today was to get your opinion as someone that's been in public safety, and you're a park ranger, you manage a park. I won't say what state so the agency doesn't get you for talking to me, but I'm just kind of curious, where do you think we are going with shortages in public safety due to COVID-19?
Well, I know, when this thing hit, we were behind the 8 ball a little bit in our planning for it. We wasn't ready, and just like a lot of other places that wasn't ready. I mean, you heard about it on the news, you saw it in China. Just so happened I had on site a good supply of gloves, some sort of PPE. I did have some masks and things like that, but then when we tried to order them, they were backstock. We're just now getting a lot of things we ordered back in March and April from Amazon and other places. Now my department was able to work something out, and now everybody that needs it has got the proper PPE, but it's not an endless supply. It's just it's enough to have. We're working on ways to protect ourselves if we have to. If we get the call of a patient that has these symptoms, or a guest that has these symptoms, that we can protect ourselves for 1 or 2 visits, but that's about it. So we're seeing firsthand what they're kind of the shortage in that equipment, but it's starting to get a little better. Like some of the cleaner, we ordered some peroxide based cleaner. We got it within 3 days. So some of the things are starting to come back, but with the unknowing, everybody's fearing the unknown, and that gets them to do things like impulse buy or stockpile. And whereas in our training, we all know that if you plan ahead, these shortages wouldn't be happening. When I go to the grocery store for my family, this is my personal stuff, I buy an extra thing of water in the middle of summer. I might buy a big case of water. Then I go and I might buy 2 of those, and I put one of them up. And the next time I go, I'll buy an extra one and put it up. And before I know it, I've got enough water to last me about 2 weeks if I had to shelter in place here at my house. So I think what's happened with that is that everybody, the fearing it and the impulse buying, people just going out and just hoarding things. And I think that kind of started. They listen to the media and things like that, and it mounts fear. And so we're fighting 2 things, in my opinion: the virus, and then the fear of the virus.
Okay, and that's an interesting concept. Do you think that we will see these shortages long term? Do you think they'll last another couple of weeks, months, years?
Well, that just depends on the kind of, in my opinion, the way that if we see how these the curves are going, everything, it could last a few months at least, in my opinion. But from what the scary thing can be, I've been reading about farmers having to get rid of their milk supply because the buyer wasn't buying it at the time. And here you've got all this, these milk production. As well as I do, dairy farms are becoming slim. The money was not in it for the dairy farmer. And then, you see some other crops that they couldn't get people to come in and help them harvest. So that's kind of what got my radar up, was like seeing folks saying that their crop's going to rot in the field because they don't have nobody to hire to pick it. And so that could very, if all that happened, that could very well be, we could see a long-term food shortage.
Well, let me ask you this, and I don't know if you saw my video yesterday or not that I released yesterday, but one of the things I say is that there are enough people out of work that I'm sure a bunch of them, at least this is my opinion, that they could hire people that are out of work as a stopgap measure. Yes, the work's hard and it's low pay, but something's better than nothing. What's your opinion on that?
I agree. You hate to go back on the history, but they, during rough times, is when some great programs come across, like the Civilian Conservation Corps, things like that. And locally, these farmers in these local areas could hire local people. They wouldn't be bringing in people from other places. This would be local people that's out of work to come in and try to help harvest their crops. That would be a great idea.
What about these farmers that are dumping? What about giving and you mentioned milk. It's more than just milk. We've got livestock growers that are killing their cows and their hogs. What about giving those to nonprofits that are having a higher demand because so many people are out of work?
Yes, I think that would be a great idea, that because it's not going to waste. We all hate to see something go to waste, especially during a time like this. When we're fighting, like I said earlier, we're not just fighting this virus. We're fighting that. We're fighting the fear of the unknown. And I think seeing things being wasted is just so sad.
Well, you're like me. You're an old country boy.
Mm-hmm.
So I have no issues with slaughtering hogs at my house and butchering them.
Right. Shooting a deer if I need to, and right.
Exactly. And, we got so thick with regulations
Mm-hmm.
that even in these tough times, people are afraid to do anything to help others because they're afraid they're going to get sued.
You're exactly right.
Of course, us country boys have a different view than most people.
Well, I always think going back, if it smells funny, don't eat it. If it tastes funny, don't eat it. If they're worried, But when we went to the store with my family right after this hit, and I was just amazed at some of the things I was seeing disappearing off the shelf. The first couple of weeks of this, you could not find even the off-brand Vienna sausages. You got the Armour brand, you got the Oscar Mayer, whatever, but the Armour was always my favorite. But you'd have some just no name brand that probably tasted awful, but they were all gone. Everything. You couldn't even find even potted meat. And I said, that's kind of bad. And even the bad bologna, the off-brand the off-brand cold cuts was gone. And I mean, I was like, wow, this could be serious. And then you start seeing a better supply, but I still don't understand the toilet paper, thing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I'll never understand that.
I understand it, but we won't get into it in an interview. I'll explain it to you sometime.
Yeah.
That comes from my years as a serious prepper. The one thing I will say is when you have more than one female in the house and they're out of toilet paper, you don't want to live in that house unless you get
true.
But anyway, now let's switch gears a little bit. What do you think about will we see public safety shortages and doctor shortages?
Yes, I think we will. One, because the departments are adhering to the social distancing things, and they're going to really have to change the way they hire and the way they train, because you can't have a class of 60 students right now doing their EMT program. I think what I've talked to or heard from some other departments, they're letting, like if they were already in the program while this started, they're kind of letting them work before they have their kind of I don't know if it's a pre-license or a way, but anyway, they're kind of letting them work as a EMT in the system until they can get in and get their testing done. But I do see a way, because it's the hiring and the training, because I know they're not sending people to the police academy right now. They're not, and that's we probably hire a year, maybe 30 Rangers a year, maybe, but that's our department. It just depends on our, how many people retire out and move on. Regular police department, I mean, those police academies are, but they graduate 100 people at a time. So that's 100 officers in the state that's not going to a county or a city or even a state agency. So I do see a shortage in medical and emergency personnel.
And, we also have to consider those that work through this, especially those in the larger cities who, after working that, have PTSD or they've just had it. I'm not doing this. They can take this job, and you know what they can do with it.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's one of my biggest fears. And the other thing is, uh, because of the social distancing, anything that involves practical skills, which is the hands-on, you know that, they can't do it.
Right.
And that's our shortage.
Yeah, and like students like myself, I learn better with the practical, hands-on, doing things more so than just reading it from the book or watching a video. It's to me I learned a lot more out in when I was on my clinicals and things like that. It's actually doing what the training, kind of what I read about in the training, actually putting it all together. So that's a key piece, a very important piece to
Right.
any field's training. Is put it together.
Absolutely. And the number one rule is the scene safe?
Yes, exactly, exactly.
A lot of people are starting to feel that these scenes aren't safe because they've got COVID-19.
Yes, yes.
But now, here is the last question. I allow any of my guests to share a Doctor of Disaster, Mark Warnick story. Do you have one you want to share?
Well, one of my favorite stories was I'd been going through, and this is a teacher student story, and Dr. Warnick is the type of instructor that he cares about his students. He would talk if he don't hear from you weekly. He would definitely give you a call and say, "Hey, how you doing? Is everything okay?" And I was actually going through some medical issues at the time, and I'd gotten over that, and I was going along, and he told me, he said, "Hey," and this was actually after I wasn't even in his class this time. I done finished his class, and I was in another one, and he gave me the a good kick in the butt to get me back going on my course of action, and I really appreciated all that during that time because I was getting ready. I was about that close to just saying, "Hey, I'm gonna give up. I don't need to do this right now." And it would have cost me a whole lot in the long run. So that just goes to show your character, that you do care about your students, and you care about the public safety field that you're in.
Well, and I thank you for that testimonial, if you will.
Yeah.
But you've been around me long enough. I have a passion for public safety. I care about people, period. And I believe it's my duty to try and make this world a better place. And
Yeah.
one of the things I tell my wife that I'd like to have on my headstone when I die is he left public safety a better place than he found it.
That's right.
So anyway, hopefully I leave the world a better place than I found it. Anything else you want to add, Brad?
I think I'm good if you are. I've really enjoyed this, and again, I can't speak enough for the public safety program at Tennessee Tech, and that was a great program, and instructors like yourself that's through that, really good commodity to have, and I appreciate everything, like I said, that you've done for the student, previous and future. So
well, and I'm not the only one that teaches there, so there's
right.
other good
they
instructors.
are.
I don't want it to be about me. It's about the program.
No, the program is top notch. I mean, it's every instructor that I've dealt with personally has been very professional and very helpful.
Good. I am so glad to hear that. And, I'm glad to have had you as a student. That way we could become friends.
That's right.
And one of the things, and you would probably remember this, but I make my students call me the first time that
Mm-hmm.
I have them in class. And there's one key thing that I say in there. Do you remember what it is about resources?
You'll have to refresh me there.
I tell the student that effective immediately, I am a resource for them
Yes,
and they
yes,
are a resource for me.
yes. You're exactly, yes. I remember. Yep.
And, I encourage students, I encourage anyone to contact me and say, hey, I've got an issue. Got any ideas? And if I need something, I'm not against calling a former student and saying, hey, buddy, I need a contact with so and so. You got
Right.
anything? And you and I have done that in the past, both
Yes, we
ways,
have. Hmm.
both ways. And that's what it's all about. Actually, let me ask you one more question.
Okay.
Collaboration, how important is it to protecting the public?
It's it's very important. You want to be able to work with other. Each agency needs to be able to work with each other for the common goal and put aside, not saying it exists. We all know it exists. Egos and things are out there. Some departments are like, I'm the best at this, or I'm the best at that. Well, you know what? Let's put what we're good at and put it together and work together and come for a common goal, and that's to help the public. And we're seeing that, if you have a good relationship with your local guys, your state guys, and your federal guys, and everything flows like it's supposed to, it's a beautiful thing. It's like you feel like Hannibal Smith on the A team smoking that cigar. I love it when a plan comes together. But oftentimes, though, it's hard to reach that goal, that same achievement. But it is a key factor, because if people that are supposed to be working together are working against each other, it just takes up more time, more resources, and more
Well,
money.
and we saw that one of the things that frustrated me was when all of these governors were outbidding one another rather than coming together and buying it all at once at the same price.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We need 40 million. How much is it going to cost us? 40 million masks. What's
Right.
it going to cost us? Okay,
Right.
you've only got 20 million. We'll give you X amount per mask. Then
Right.
they're not competing with each other.
Right.
But instead, they paid outrageous prices because they couldn't work together.
Right. Right.
Uh,
And times like this, differences aside, political things aside, roll up our sleeves and work together. And that's
you
that's
know,
that's the way I always try to do. That's the way I do things in life. Everybody's so the times we're living in now. Everybody's so worried. Well, if I don't agree with this person, I'm offending them, or I'm a racist, or what. I mean, put that aside. Roll your sleeves up. It's time to get in the trenches and work together with people, and all that
exactly.
aside.
I mean, side by side, let's quit the political BS and let's move forward for what's best for this country. Now,
Exactly.
if we disagree, we disagree, but that doesn't mean
Yeah, that
that,
we hate. Right.
yeah, that we hate someone or someone should hate us.
Right.
What we should do is sit down and talk about it rather than throw rocks,
Mm-hmm.
and let's figure a way to get through it. But I try not to get into politics on my
No,
channel. You know
you're
that.
fine. Yep, we're fine. Yeah.
But I get so frustrated sometimes. Anyway, Brad, thank you so much, sir. Really appreciate your time. Have you been enjoying the YouTube channel?
I have. I really have. It's and I used it. One thing that I benefited from my staff. When this COVID-19 first started, I actually had some of my staff watch your video, just because we were talking about when all this come about, it was kind of crazy. They're talking about, like you said, nail the door shut, nail the window shut. What are we going to do? And your show helped create some kind of kind of calm some nerves down, for some of my staff, and I use it as a training tool. So it's been very,
Really?
very beneficial. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. I'm honored. Well, thank you so much. And if you need anything, you've got my number.
Yes, sir. You too.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Don't forget to get your copy of the Doctor of Disasters book, Emergency Incident Management Systems, at Amazon.com. This book is the go-to on managing disasters and on the Instant Command System. The Doctor of Disaster is a wholly owned subsidiary of Warnick and Associates Incorporated.